Are we seeing a transition from growth stocks to value stocks? Is this the leading indicator there? Let's talk to two Facebook investors, Tim Seymour, CNBC Fast Money Trader and Triogem Asset Management CIO, and Farr, Miller and Washington CEO, Michael Farr. He is also a CNBC contributor. Tim, Michael, welcome. You are both long this stock, both own this stock. Michael, would you like to get longer today or not so much? You processing?
I'm processing, but I would buy it where I don't own it in accounts. You know, it's 20 times next year's earnings, and I don't think there's much chance that they're going to disappoint the levels that have been reset. The thing that's kind of caught me off guard, Tyler, is I would have expected the market to really have taken it in the neck overnight. I looked at futures this morning expecting to see them just fall apart. Didn't happen. So there's a message here, and that is that this market, which I think I've been worried about in terms of valuation, is behaving in a very resilient way.
The damage is compartmentalized. Tim, the same question to you. In the accounts in which you hold Facebook, would you be adding today, holding as you reassess, or what?
Well, Tyler, I think the story for Facebook, this is really one about disclosures, and I think it's a governance issue. And you know, so yes, I own the stock, but you know, I wonder how they're dealing with personal data, and that to me is a factor that if you think about what is their product, what do they create? It's our data, and how are they handling that? And I think, you know, ultimately think of it the way a widget comes off an assembly line. Yesterday they told us they have to go back onto the assembly line and actually build structure around the security side, things that maybe tell us the product isn't fully built or that we've been overpaying for the product. So I think this is a existential moment for Facebook.
We could have said that, though, on the heels of the Cambridge Analytica fallout, and yet you still held Facebook. So why now is there a governance problem when there wasn't a governance problem before, when they let those developers have access to data?
Well, leave aside whether I own it or not for a second, because I think there's been a problem for a long time. I think the reality is that if you think about the security aspects of Facebook, but the disclosure of what management has been telling us about their core product, I'm not sure we've really heard from them.
It sounds like you're backing away from it.
Yes, back to your original question. What do you do with it today?
I don't think you need to do anything. I don't think you need to dive in there. And again, Facebook tells us we're a community and we're sharing, and I don't think they've been terribly forthcoming in terms of how they're approaching it.
You're going to hold it?
I'm holding the stock for now.
But Tyler,
it's down 20%
today. Most every one of these issues about, and I agree about the concern of the privacy, and I agree with Tim, but every one of these issues pretty much has gone away, whether it was the Target stores data issue, or even if it was the Facebook issue months ago. We see this initial drop.
Here you've got decelerating growth.
Michael, that's different, though. I mean,
got decelerating growth.
When there's a breach at Target, I mean, data is not the core business of Target. Data is at the center of Facebook's business, right? I mean, that's why you can look through it on Target and not for Facebook necessarily.
No, I think it is, and it isn't only to the extent that as investors and as users and people on the internet, and what do they have, like 2/3 of the internet users of the world are actively using Facebook. I mean, we are kind of, I think, getting more accustomed to know that our data isn't safe. I mean, it's out there. They just, it's not a shock.
But what if you saw fewer people going to Target, right? That never ultimately happened.
Now that matters.
Right? People have slowed down going to Facebook, right? That is the equivalent metric. That is the concern.
But they're also showing usership up as like 11% year over year. And you remember in December, they kind of toned back the engagement model, the formula they were using. If they can tone that back, they can get people more engaged as well. I mean,
I just think, Michael, we have to think about this in terms of good companies versus great companies, and the premium or not we give to management. If they're a great company, they go beyond the scope of what needs to be done. Does Facebook deserve a premium here? I'm not sure that this is something that investors are thinking about when they're evaluating
I don't think it has one today.
In companies whose core product is data.
How quickly are we going to be talking about does Sheryl Sandberg deserve her job? Does Mark Zuckerberg deserve his job?
I don't want to opine on that. I want to talk about an issue that I think transcends even just Facebook.
But if
I'm not sure we're looking at companies. It's a major governance issue. And is management being forthcoming? Do they know how they're handling their most important asset, which is data?
And another question, Michael, is why didn't Facebook be a little bit more vocal or nudging. No, nudging when it comes to guiding lower. Why did we sit there on that fast money desk last night and watch the stock plummet 20% because of an unprecedented guide down, which apparently caught everybody by surprise? Why was it that much of a surprise?
Melissa, this is just so stupid. And to Tim's point, I'm going to, if it's not a governance issue, these people have to have the dumbest sort of PR advisors in the world at Facebook. They've kind of boggled every one of.
Where's the public board on this, too, Michael? I mean, I think we're saying the same thing.
But, I mean, they've totally
here.
bungled every one of their crises that could have been, handled in positive ways. Melissa, they should have been out there. They should have had guidance. They should have transparency. They should be clear. They're missing huge opportunities that I would think can take their market cap, and I think this is what Tim is saying, too. Their market cap would achieve that premium if, indeed, they would just become, like, better, more responsible citizens.
So for both of you, on many levels, this board, the governance, all that transparency, sharing information, they failed on many fronts.
Yeah.
But you're still
They're
both
talking about we're sharing, we're caring. I don't think
holders of this stock. Yes.
Yes. The numbers are good.
All
yes,
right.
I'm holding.
All right, Michael, you're going to depart. It's good to see you. It didn't say anything wrong, but we're going to spend a little more time with Tim.
That was it. Get him out of here.
Get far out of here.
Great job, Michael.
Out.
I thought it was fantastic.
Far out. All right, Tim, it's been 3 months to the day, I'm told here, right here. It says right there in the teleprompter, since the CNBC stock
here we go.
And it looks like we've seen the Seymour slide.
You're in the lead for so long.
Every time I'm announced to come talk about the draft on Power Lunch, I go from first to second place within a matter of minutes. So it's a long season. By the way, Nick Lowry, good for him. Not only one of the best kickers of all time, but a great stock picker. And I think he's made a call with AMD that
he's a kicker.
Right now he's the pace car, which is where I was last year. And by the way, I finished second. So
21% is not too shabby.
That's
in
pretty
this
good
market.
3 months.
We're pleased with where we are.
And look at the gap between you and O'Leary.
Well, that's refreshing. That's good. I'd be lying if I didn't say it.
Right? That's why I brought it up.
And Kevin, that's a compliment, obviously. If we've done it for you, you're the man on top.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.